You're welcome back to the Searchers podcast. I'm excited to be here. It's been a little while.
It's been a few weeks.
It's been a few weeks. To all the searchers out there, even if you don't know that you're a searcher, hopefully you're searching for something, because we all are. You never know who's going to be sitting here. You never know what we'll be talking about. You never know what trash outfit Kirron's going to be bringing today. Hey, you shit on me on my intro.
You should have told me we were wearing long pants and nice jumpers.
I don't wear shorts anymore, man.
All right. You don't like your legs?
I haven't shaved in a while.
All right, that's fair. I'll keep that in mind.
Getting way too warm to be in long pants.
That's what I thought. I was going to wear jeans. I was like, you know what? I think it's too hot.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but black people wear jeans regardless, whether it's hot, whether it's whatever. And you've told me you're black before, so
yeah. Is that is that a cultural issue?
yeah, because we have skinny legs.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some of those National Geographic photos, man. Not everybody's wearing jeans.
Well, we have no clothes.
So it's one or the other.
Yeah,
you're either going to walk around with nothing or you wear. Yeah.
Unlike UKB to have an argument for everything.
So this isn't a new thing. So
no.
Oh, this isn't. Well, let me introduce you first. Hold on. We have the great Nick Such here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. I'm really glad you came.
Thank you.
They call it like a clout chaser. You ever heard the term clout chaser?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that you have coached some pretty special. You've done something that no one's really done. You've gone to the Olympics and coached.
I went to the Commonwealth Games.
It was the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, Commonwealth Games. It was the first ever international tournament for wheelchair 3x3.
Okay.
And the first time that able-bodied 3x3 was at the Comm Games. So yeah, a bit of a special environment where able-bodied athletes and athletes with a disability were playing on the same court in the same program for the first time that we'd ever seen that at that level. So yeah, Comm Games, Birmingham last year.
How'd you get into that?
Into wheelchair basketball?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's by accident. With most things, an opportunity presented itself, and you got to have courage to say yes to these things. Obviously, been in basketball my whole life. Played basketball as a kid. Got into sports management for a career. Ran basketball stadiums. Coached. In the Greater Brisbane League. Coached in the what's now the NBL 1 as an assistant coach with Brisbane and Ipswich.
Yeah.
But as a job, I'd got into working with the great David Bartholomeus. At Sporting Wheelies. Capitals legend.
I don't know anything. I'm really sorry. So this would be good. I'm getting to know a lot. A great man. And he was running sport for Sporting Wheelies organisation, and so I went across to work with them as basically the state administrator for wheelchair basketball. So similar to an NBL 1 game with a game commissioner, and setting the games up to make sure that they go right, and referees are there on time, and your score bench is there, and your stats and your live stats are actually working when they're meant to be working. So that was my job, and so I got sort of to a position where I'd sit and watch the games, and why are they doing that? Okay, yep, that works, but why? Maybe if they had tried that and started to just talk to the guys and get to know the guys. And fast forward probably 2 seasons, they were looking for a coach, and the conjecture is probably there on who made the first phone call, but I ended up having a conversation about taking on the team, and I was still connected to Ipswich Force at the time, and I ummed and ahed about it. And it was You what, sorry?
I ummed and ahed about it. I sort
what does that mean?
He wasn't sure. I wasn't
sure.
To work it out.
I was questioning whether I should do it or not. And,
write that down. That's nice.
I was at a work conference, and I ran into a former player by the name of Tyg Simmons, 2-time Paralympian, world champion, top of the tree type guy. Mm-hmm. And we had a brief conversation, but I guess the summary of it was, I said to him, look, I've never actually coached an athlete with a disability before. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And he said to me, mate, it's got nothing to do with that. Just coach basketball. And that's what got me across the line. And I've told that story at a few different places. And to this day, Tyg Simmons doesn't remember that conversation. So this is a conversation that changed kind of my life and my trajectory.
Yeah.
And he doesn't remember it. But it had a massive impact on me. So that's how I got into it and just started coaching what was the Queensland Spinning Bullets in the National League, and then that led to some Australian opportunities. And after that was 2017, so after 5 years, I ended up leading the program to Birmingham.
And is it an Olympic sport as well?
Paralympic sport.
Paralympic sport.
The 5-on-5 version of the game is Paralympic, and the Australian rollers, so the senior men's national team, is the most successful Australian basketball team in our history. Multiple world champions, multiple Paralympic gold medals across the history of the sport.
If they're the top, so I don't see much coverage on it.
No. I mean, the commercial nature of the sport is definitely something that is well and truly behind the able-bodied version of the game. And we would love a lot more, I guess, commercialisation, because, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are elite athletes like anybody else, trying to balance jobs and, their sporting career. So some more money would be wonderful. But we are very well supported in Queensland. So my job as the high performance coach is funded by the Queensland Academy of Sport and Basketball Australia. So there is that pathway. But yeah, we'd love to see some more exposure. And that's probably the other thing that was very notable about the Channel 7 coverage for Birmingham. Was I was getting text messages and, in the middle of the night from guys I went to school with 20 years ago that I hadn't seen, going, "Oh, we're up watching this, with my son, way to go, mate," type stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome." But I didn't understand, I guess, the coverage of how big it would be back home.
You said it's just like regular basketball, but 3-on-3 is very different. Did you start just doing 5-on-5 first?
Started with the 5-on-5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the program for Birmingham, the first game that we played against Canada was our first official international game that we'd ever played for the 3-on-3 wheelchair game. So we basically had to build the program around what we wanted to do, not who we were playing against. We didn't see a team list of who we were playing against in terms of the players until 2 days before tip-off. We suspected we knew who was going to be there. We knew that Team England were going to be strong, and we'd heard that Lee Manning, who's their 6'8" centre, was going to play. But we weren't officially told until we were already there. So very much prepared the program and the style of play to what we wanted to do, not who we were playing against, and rolled the dice. We went with a team that was completely different construct to everybody that we played.
I'm gonna ask, how'd you go? But let me fix that really quickly. It's all right.
No, you're good.
Yo, you about to ask something, good?
Oh, it's just yeah, no, it's right. You go on.
Yeah, how'd you guys go?
How did we go?
Yeah.
The men got gold and the women got silver. Wow. So from a program perspective, all 4 Australian teams medalled. So the able-bodied women won the bronze.
Yeah.
The able-bodied men took silver. Our women took silver, and the wheelchair men got gold.
You said that your team was a very different group. Like, in what way? Like, what was the...
So with wheelchair basketball, not unlike other Paralympic sports, there's a classification system which is based upon your level of functionality. So in layman's terms, what your disability is. So for wheelchair basketball players, you can be classified from 4.5 down to 1 in 0.5 increments. So just as an example, someone who's a 4.5 would be a below knee amputee, or something below their knees. A 4-pointer might be an above knee amputee, and then it goes from there all the way up to a 1-pointer. So who's a low, what we call a low pointer, where they'll have an impingement, very, very high impairment. So when we're coaching the 5-on-5 game, you can have no more than 14 classification points on the floor at one time. In the 3x3 game, you can go no higher than 8.5. So in Birmingham, for that 8.5, most of the teams had a high pointer, so a 4 or 4.5 on the floor, and then a couple of low pointers. we went with a team of mid. So I had a 2-half-3-3 on the floor, which meant that our 3-pointer from actually here in Queensland, Kurt Thompson, is a big guy, he's 6'4". So he could match it height a little bit. But what we actually did was we had more mobility in our other two guys. So where I had a 2.5-pointer or a 3-pointer, teams playing against us had a 1 guarding them. So we were more mobile, in that aspect. And in a 3x3 game, like you guys know, you've all got to be able to pass, dribble, shoot, no matter who you are. Yeah. So that's where we had the edge.
I want to ask about, I guess, the morale of the team, or like just speak on what the guys are like. What's the mindset? What's kind of their view on how they do things being professional athletes? Yep. Whereas, because some people would watch and be like, I'm not gonna say feel sorry, but feel like they may not have regular mindsets that athletes have.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, and something we come across quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll be honest, it's something that I had to wrap my mind around from a coaching perspective, and it was very early on about, well, how do I coach someone with a disability?
Were you nervous about that at first?
Well, because I'd been around them, no. But I mean, you always sort of question what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that faded pretty quickly. I was lucky I had a good group of guys who, were very upfront about that'll work, no, that won't work, and it was all basketball based. It had nothing to do with their functionality. And you'll see things in the media about an athlete with a disability. Oh, they're so inspirational. No. They're athletes.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Just so happens to be that with the game that I coach, they've got to use a sports wheelchair to move around as opposed to running. Yeah. But other than that, no, they're athletes.
They're competitive. That's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
There are challenges.
Yeah.
But not on the court. I mean, I might get a phone call from one of my guys, and it has happened. Hey, coach, I can't make practice this morning because the elevator in the building's out, so he can't get down to his car. Or he could, but he doesn't want to drag his wheelchair down 5 flights of stairs and then have to go home and do the same thing up the stairs. So there's those type of things, which are challenges that an able-bodied athlete doesn't face.
Yeah.
But in terms of the constructs and the mindset around being, on the elite athlete pathway, doesn't make a difference. It's guys come through from social basketball into regional rep, into state, into national programs, get offered a college scholarship to go and play in the US. In Australia at the moment, we've got, 12 to 13 guys playing professionally in Europe, on pro contracts. The pathway's there.
Is there a pathway from Australia, like where they? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Basketball Queensland does a lot of work with
Yeah, so that's where I work. I work out of Basketball Queensland. So so I'm the wheelchair high performance coach at Basketball Queensland.
Oh yeah.
So that's full-time job. So it's very much the pathway that is presented to an able-bodied athlete. The wheelchair game mirrors. Now there's obviously not the same number of athletes playing the game.
Yeah.
But the opportunities certainly exist.
That's awesome. I want to know about you. I've asked inside sources from Basketball Queensland, who is Nick Such, and they said you're like a funny, lively guy, that I want to know more about you.
Yeah. Look, I can be serious, but I like to keep things pretty lighthearted because there's always going to be time to be serious, but everything that I do, I put people first.
Yeah.
It's about creating relationships. It's about creating, a more holistically rounded person. And if you invest in the people, then you get a better outcome. Now, the outcome might not be what the person wants or you want for them in terms of, Australian selection or things like that. But then, like you were saying before about searching, then the athlete's able to maybe handle that or manifest the support around that better. So that's who I am. I'm
I'm all about people.
How do you handle? Sorry, I'm trying to just get rapid fire. Like, how do you handle, like, because you're making the selections? It has to be tricky. It's tricky.
When you deselect an athlete, that's one of the hardest things.
What do you mean deselect?
Well, when you're telling them that they haven't been picked on a team, you know, when you're and you know all the way through from, you know, selecting a team to go and play in Perth for the weekend National League round, you know, all the way through to Australian level.
Yeah.
When you're having that conversation, you know, you have that conversation based on the fact. Oh, well, this is the reason why you haven't, but you're still looking into a human being's eyes and you're seeing the response, you know, and that can break my heart, you know, from a personal point of view. Yeah. But then you've got to also have the courage to stand by that decision because, you know, at the end of the day, you've got a job to do, and it can be a tough balance.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
So what was the pool like to select your 3-on-3 team, and how many people did you pick?
So roughly we whittled it down to a pool of 12 athletes per gender to select from, and then we sort of got that down to 8, and then we went
to get to the 12. Did you just send out invitation letters? Is that how that works, or
we probably streamlined it a little bit, and we identified a pool of athletes that we were going to invite into the first camp, and they had the right of refusal. You know, yes, I'm interested. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I guess what we were also doing is starting from that point. The 5-on-5 team were also in the process of you know, selecting teams for qualifiers and their you know, world championship type stuff. So we had to work very closely with the coaches and the selection process for the 5v5 and the 3x3. So the 4 guys who went to Birmingham weren't in the rollers 5v5 game, but the girls, the 4 that went to Birmingham, all were.
And you said, so you said 4?
Yes.
So you only have 4 people with, like, obviously 3 of the sub? Or?
Yep, same as the able-bodied game. Okay. So three on the court, 1 sub. They had toyed with the wheelchair game of being 5, but the Birmingham organisational committee changed it to 4, so it was exactly the same as the AB game.
Okay.
Are the kids coming up? As motivated? Are they as driven? Because kids aren't doing. They're not training.
We find there's I guess coaches coaching kids that there's been a shift, I guess, in the motivations to play basketball.
Yeah.
Is it similar in your game?
Yeah, it is, and that's probably one of our biggest struggles at the moment because of the lack of games and the opportunities that we have for games here at the moment. You're training for the purpose of training with no goal, no outcome.
No game,
So that's one thing we're focusing on for our guys very heavily at the moment, is trying to at least get some tournament play every 3 months.
Yep.
And we're just starting to build towards that. We'll go down to a tournament in Wollongong in about 3-4 weeks, and that'll probably be the first time that our guys have played since July.
Yeah, okay.
So that's our biggest hurdle, is that motivation to stay on the pathway with lack of opportunity to play.
Yeah, and train and all those kind of things. And
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if you're already in the mix for the Australian team and you're trying to hold your place, then there's probably a little bit of height. And if you're trying to knock on the door, then you've got that motivation. But if you're that next level down, if you're maybe an under 23 athlete, then it's probably that little bit of additional motivation that you got to find reasons to be there.
And do they have national champs and stuff for the under 23s or whatever the age groups are?
Yeah, so the the Junior National Wheelchair Championships is named after Kevin Coombs, who unfortunately just passed away a couple of weeks ago, who's an absolute trailblazer, both for Indigenous athletes and wheelchair athletes, 5-time Paralympian. So next year's championships will probably hold even more of a special onus, and they're running in conjunction with the under-18 Australian juniors. So we were actually out at Brendale and Northside this year. So our guys got to sit and watch the likes of Rocco, you know, get up and down the court, and then we go on to the game next to it, and Rocco comes and watch us. Yeah, so nice. I mean that collaboration there and that unity was amazing. And they're starting to become more and more of that. It's not just the wheelchair game is separate. Go over and do your thing over there. There's a lot more conjunction and collaboration in the sport, especially now that Basketball Australia are running the show.
How's coaching been going for you, man? Just came from a tournament, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Just I think that one of the things I found is that the kids are more focused on social media and the image, you know, like on how they look or, you know, the reputation that they have as part of a team or whatever it is, rather than, you know, doing the work to be the difference. They're more content with the idea of making a team or being able to tell people they're in a team as opposed to actually doing it, which is a shift. So it's something that I've got to kind of get my head around and work on that.
We came back from the first, you know, there's that break in the middle from the tournaments. And everyone's like just sitting down, and I'm like, oh, they're just shooting, but with the slippers on, and it's running clock games. So it's not like
they're not tired.
They're not tired at all. They chilling. And I'm there like, have I just become this old, angry guy? Or I should yell at them like, shoot, like go put your shoes on.
No, go get better.
Spend 30 minutes getting better. You have this 4-hour break or whatever it is, you know. Yeah. And I don't know, I feel I'm becoming an old, angry guy or something, man.
The same. Like it's something that we've got to figure out. I think as well in school and stuff, like the kids are getting spoon-fed even more. You know, things are scaffolded a lot better. Teaching practices offer a lot more help. There's always, you know, second and third kind of options if the first option doesn't work. And so I think that and, you know, like with social media, like you're hungry, you don't have to go to a shop. You just, you know, call Uber Eats. You know, if you don't like Uber Eats, you call, you know, what's another one?
DoorDash.
Menu log or that's right. There's multiple options.
Like, I don't like this. I'll go there. You know, and why? Because Woolies across the road. But you know what? I want, you know, something more convenient. Crazy. And I think, you know, it's and you know, bus breaks down, catch an Uber. Like there's no real adversity. There's always an answer when things don't go right, and it's at your fingertips. And I think that's the world that these kids are getting brought up in. And rather than going, okay, that didn't work. How do I want that outcome still? How do I problem solve it?
All right, because it's not going back.
What's that?
It's not going back.
No, it's not. Yeah. So, but
no, I was going to say, I mean, you're right with that social media approach, though. I mean, life is very much like, you know, Polaroid pictures, just snippets. Yeah. You know, so I mean, even the attention bits, span, you know? for you know, to sit and watch, you know, a 40-minute game with a half time, there's too many other things I could be doing right now.
Yeah, you know, I'm on my phone or I'm doing this, and I miss most of the game.
Yeah,
And so you're not really interested in the game because I can just highlight reel this, like. You know, like when we were growing up, like you basically...
When was that?
10 years ago. Like we were like,
that was recent. Now, early
20s, you know. Like,
not as old as we look, mate.
Early 20s.
And I'm older than he is, so...
Same
That's hard to believe.
Same when you were growing up.
Oh, wow.
You know, when we'd have to go to the VCR, you know, and you've already recorded a game.
I do know what VCR is, unfortunately. Fortunately.
One of the biggest rushes as a kid was trying to get the Blockbuster on a Friday afternoon to get the movie or the video game before someone else grabbed that.
Yeah, when they run out of your favorite game.
Now you can just find that online and have whatever you want.
Instantly and buy it. But so you had to plan it, you had to do it. Like if you wanted to watch something, you'd have to set the timer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or you had to wake up and, you know, record the game and
scheduled
on TV. And so there's all this effort involved.
You guys just smiled so big. Sorry. It's lovely to see.
It's like you want to, you know, get your favorite song. You had to wait for it to come on the radio, and you had to be quick on that record button on your tape deck to try and get your favorite song.
Yeah.
Now it's what's on Spotify or Apple Music or, you know, any of these other stream ones. Oh, there it is. Thanks very much.
There it is. Yeah.
It's convenient. It's way too convenient.
And there's no struggle. Yeah. You know, there's no plan. There's no investment. It's just I got it. And so that's the world these kids live in. So, you know, like why would they lose a game or they're not happy with their performance? Why would they go and shoot around for half an hour? You know what I mean? And put in some effort with because there's no foresight either. It's literally whatever I want now.
Yeah.
So there's no like, oh, okay, like, you know, I have a tournament next year. I've got 12 months to get better. It's just like, I'll just turn it on the week before.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just dial in. I'll just switch on. Like, and it doesn't work like that in sport. And so I think that these kids are kind of stuck in between. Like the kids actually do the work, and they do the work because they want to do the work, not because their parents want to do the work.
Yeah.
They would find the pathway a lot easier now than it was back then, because there's a lot more people doing work back then.
Yeah.
You know,
Now people look like it. You know,
they look like they're doing work,
Yeah.
but they've just done they got a 30-minute highlight reel. That was, you know, and that was it. That was the work. Like,
Well, I think they get discouraged because they're seeing that and they're comparing what they're doing to the highlights, to everyone's highlights. I've recently heard some kids be like, what's the point? We're not going to.
really?
Oh, what? Yeah, literally yesterday.
I've never heard that.
I was in shock. So they're like,
makes sense though. Like, I just haven't heard it.
someone was like, yo, I've seen, you could work from grade 7 to grade 12 and not make it. So what's the point? And I'm like, well, if you didn't know, it starts after grade 12. Like that's not even the end point. And if you don't try it, then you won't make it anyway.
Yeah, but like all the other things you learn along the way, like that's the point. Like everything that you learn by trying something and improving yourself and overcoming your own mental blocks and your own, you know, lack of confidence and all the obstacles, that's what makes you a strong, resilient person.
But they hear that and be like, what are you talking about? Well,
I don't need to be a strong, resilient person.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a town playing rep basketball where, you know,
Which town was that?
that would be Rockhampton. You know, it's a big country town. I love the place. But,
It is.
you know, you didn't make the top 10, come back next year and try.
Yeah.
You know, you run a rep trial now and 60 kids turn up and the parents and everyone's standing around going,
letters,
we've got 6 teams this year.
Is that 60 in Rockhampton?
No.
Oh, only because like I think, you know, there's 120 at BBI. Like there's 120 kids trialing. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, how deep can we go?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
right.
know,
But the expectation is that how many kids you've got, well, that's how many we're going to have. Like, well, no, we're going to have 2 teams. Well, what about the other 100 kids? Well, sorry, they weren't good enough.
They all think that they should be in the teams. That's the other bit that blows my mind. Like, they actually look around and go, yep, I got this. Like, it doesn't matter. There's no evidence that you could show these kids that would convince them that they aren't entitled to play representative basketball. And again, like, you know, like clubs now have 5 teams. They're 5 rep teams deep.
Yeah.
So there's at least 50, maybe 60 kids playing rep at, you know, the bigger associations with enough coaches, really. And, you know, there's still another 40 or whatever kids who don't miss out, and they can't figure it out. I'll just go to another association. You know, I'll just dial into somewhere else. And it's but that's the mentality. It's not like, okay, you know.
How the college system's gone to now. Sorry to cut you off.
What do you mean?
With the, you know, when you used to transfer, you used to have to sit out a year or something.
Yeah.
There was some consequence.
You used to redshirt,
just go anywhere from anywhere to anywhere. Like saying,
Just anytime you want with
anytime
the portal.
Literally with no consequence.
So as coaches, like, you know, I know that this kid, if he's unhappy, he's going to transfer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what am I investing into that kid? Like, how much can I invest into any kid? Because they could be one and done, or they could just transfer out any time, and I transfer somebody in. And I think that changes your whole philosophy around coaching. I think that changes everything. And that's one of the things that I'm finding at the moment is that the groups that we coach are much more like that. And so, and they don't seem to, they're not investing. So they don't really care about your investment. They're just transient. They're like, oh.
What do you think is the role in the school teams in that now, where, you know, because obviously schools are a different environment where, you know, you have to potentially cater for a certain number of teams, and so you might have your 4th and your 5ths. How does that flow into clubland?
Yeah, well, I think that that's part of the huge amount of growth. You know, like I was talking to someone at BQ just over this tournament, and they were saying that, you know, the growth has been astronomical.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
The reason that the growth, and, you know, obviously it's very hard to meet the needs, the requirements for that growth, you know, and everything, obviously catch up later. But, you know, like now that we've got so many more school tournaments, you know, and we go all the way down to Div 5. So now you've got, you know, some year 7 and 8 kids, and they might have 2 or 3 kids who play basketball.
Yes.
They get 7 more who've never played before, and they're like, oh, this is cool. Like, I like this game. Then they go to club, and they're like, well, can I play?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, they got all of these kids in this, you know, I guess, ocean of basketball who some have played, some haven't, some are athletic, some are doing it for fun. It's a lot less specialized. And I think that has, you know, really muddied the water in the sense that what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more participation, which is awesome. But at the top end, I think that we really, as coaches as well, because you're just dealing with, man, that kid's super tall and athletic, never played before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just usually invest a bunch of time into that kid. Yeah. But now there's like, we've got a bunch of those. So.
And I mean, and it's interesting you say that because it sort of, you know, you get these flashbacks of memories, and then even, you know, in my administrator days, because basketball ran, you know, 12 months of the year, we were always up against creating draws and you know, someone ringing up, oh, can you change the draw because my little girl's got netball or my little girl's got water polo or my son's got football, and basketball was very much their second option.
Yep. Or
because there was a short window to play football in the year and you can play basketball all the way around, football had to come first at that point.
Yeah.
Is that still...
Yeah, well, I think that...
Sorry, you're trying to get everyone to AFL anyway.
Yeah. I much prefer AFL. AFL's
AFL.
a lot more... AFL's a lot more organised and it's a lot more supportive financially.
Yeah.
You know,
that Auskick program has always been an absolute benchmark.
Yeah, and they've got the way they organise it and the way that the money flows down and it's shared from top down. So basically, I really like AFL in the sense that your clubs, though, are your rep teams. So... in basketball, you've got your rep, and then you've got club underneath that.
Yes.
Whereas AFL, your rep is your club.
Yeah. So
everybody's wearing the same jersey from seniors down to juniors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, say you go to any sort of club and you've got, you know, say at Auckland, you got Lane Park, West Brisbane, you know, Everton from back in the day, you know.
Again, showing your age.
Exactly. Just for the people who understand what I just
said. So they go, what? Who?
Sorry,
what?
Man. You have no idea. But just trust
Everlast
me. That
or something? What did you say? Everlast?
It was a blue team that had an eagle logo. That's all you need to know.
Everton Eagles blue. But basically, like you've got a whole bunch of clubs competing. Yeah. You know, underneath Brisbane Basketball's banner. You know what I mean? Like and then you make a rep team, and then they go out and compete against Gold Coast and districts. Whereas in AFL, you don't have any of those club teams. Mm-hmm. So basically, you might have, you know, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 under 15, and then, you know, under 13 is the same thing. But everyone's representing Brisbane all the time, and I think that's a much more efficient way to do it because you get a lot more of that affiliation with your club. Yeah, you know, I'm a Brisbane person, I'm a districts person, rather than because now, like as I said, like you can play. So you can play at school and then, you know, play rep. You know, you're good enough, you get picked up for rep, and then you find a club. To be able to play at the association. To
facilitate that, exactly. Yeah.
Rather than the other way around where, you know, changing club in AFL is a big deal. Okay. You know what I mean? Like and they've got all these policies around transfers and all these other things so that you can, you know, there is that loyalty, there is that continuity and stuff. So I think that's why I like AFL. But I think you're right. I think there are there's 2 parts to it, is that one, parents are now and kids are now shopping around for what they think is the best opportunity for them wherever they can get it. Yeah. So they're constantly shopping around. So, I don't like that. Well, I want to go here. You know what I mean? Because of this coach or because there's a group of kids there or, you know, I've got to do too much work at this club. You know, we only got 2 players who are good. They got 5. If I go there, I'll be a winner. You know, and so they can shop around and they can...
But and vice versa. I mean, if we're on a strong team here and I'm on the end of the bench, I'm going to go play for this team where I'm going to be the 25-pointer gamer. Well, what does that then, getting back to the social media point of view, what does that then make me look like?
Yeah, but see, but what I've found is that they don't do that because it's more social media credibility to say you won a championship. Right, yeah. And you never mention you're on the bench. You never mention. You say, look at my team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm this, I'm that. So it's better to win a championship and sit on the bench and never play a minute than it is, because the old school way was you wanted to compete against those people. Yeah. I want to be the player. People, right? And now it's like, well, I'd actually prefer to sit on the team and be on social media, and my parents will write things on social media and post and all those things. And look, I won another gold championship rather than go, okay, you know what? I want to beat these people, because that's going to make me better. So again, the philosophy I feel has really changed from kids really self-reflecting and trying to be the best they can be and seeing how far they could go to the quick hit, dopamine hit almost, like, how do I look good in this moment? And winners are winners and losers are losers, not just in terms of the game, but in terms of who they are as people. Once you win a game, you're actually a winner. Yeah. Once you lose a game, you are now a loser. And but it changes like that. So, it's a really interesting space at the moment, I think, and very, very, very frail, superficial, transient space is what I've found. It's I don't know. Psychologists have a lot of work at the moment. That's all I can say.
Well, you guys have the power. You have the power. We speak of, we've addressed the problem. What does success look like then, and what?
Yeah, I think
how can you change a little bit?
What
does success look like?
Wheelchair, the wheelies, 3-on-3?
There's certain elements very much involved in that, but I guess because it's a smaller cohort of players, the understanding of where the player's at, in terms of their representative career or selection into Australian programs is probably a little bit more evident and identified. That's one of the big things that we're pushing is an individual athlete plan, so that the athletes understand exactly where they are, and then obviously there's the hierarchical system a bit, where getting back to that classification, if you're a 4-pointer, who am I behind? Yeah. So we've got to be.
So they're kind of aware of that.
Yeah, we've got to be very upfront about that. So I'm probably not the best at it, but I try and have those conversations, especially with the guys who are knocking on the door of international representation, about where I think their opportunities are going to come. And they can disagree with me, they can agree with me. We can have open conversations about it, but we definitely have to do that. And even from young kids coming through, being brutally honest about, well, this is what you're going to have to do. This is how long it's going to take, so that at least the athlete's informed and can be part of that decision-making process. I mean, the days have gone where the coach will just tell you jump and you say, okay, how high? Yeah. You've got to give them a reason for it now.
That's gone.
Yeah, why are we doing
long
this?
Gone.
Long gone. I mean, that the days are being yelled at because, you lost a game and, abused until the cows come home, with every swear.
They were good days.
They were good days because you guys were the abusers.
They were the glory days.
You guys
we were on the end of some of those ones.
You're on the end of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always on the end of those ones. It taught you character.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
After the
definitely
tears,
didn't destroy lives.
Gave you thick skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just making you mentally tough by psychologically abusing.
Oh, do you remember a worst day, maybe, just basketball wise, of being abused, where you had to really go home and think?
Ask a question. That's a really good question.
I can. I'm not going to say names, but there was an incident.
I'm
going to leave names out of it, but there was an instance where a coach broke both wrists punching a brick wall after a loss. Yeah,
both wrists.
Yeah. Ended up in 2 plaster casts.
They were obviously upset.
One wasn't enough?
Yeah, 15-point lead going into the final quarter and lost the game by 9 or something like that. And that was a dressing down after the game for sure. And
no, but I mean for you personally, did any of it?
I was in the dressing room of that one.
Yeah, he's saying that was impacting him.
It impacted you like that? Oh, okay.
I was 16.
He was saying that was a lot.
Okay, yeah, I saw that happen.
Giving you the example, saying that was a lot.
That was and that's never. I'm never going to be that guy.
Was it a male? Yeah, so watching an adult man lose it to the point where he broke both wrists against a concrete wall, you
think you were next?
Yeah.
Well, they're broken already.
16-year-old rookie sitting in the corner. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe I don't want to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this game.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be on the end of that. If this is what these guys are copping.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Well, you got to let stuff out sometimes.
Yeah, but
yes, you do.
Oh, look, and there's times even, I guess, from my coaching where, I've copped a tee, for having a bit of a spray in a game, but hopefully they're well placed. But and I guess that's where that emotional investment, comes in.
Yeah.
Where it means something to you. Sometimes you can get a little bit fiery, and having a good team around you and someone who keeps you in check is always, where you can go too far if you don't have that. So I always try and balance out the team that I work with, from our ability to work together and be brutally honest with each other, and assistant coaches or senior players, bringing me an idea, I'm not going to dismiss, even if I don't agree with them. Let them have that open relationship. And that then sort of allows us to keep those instances of being over the top or whatever out of the way, because we're all on the same page, and the right to agree to disagree. At least we've empowered people, and they feel wanted or feel so that their voice matters, and then that saves all of those. I find.
Can I ask you a really loaded question?
You can ask me whatever you want.
5 questions, and I don't know how to ask just one.
Just
go
to your loaded question.
If I stand up and walk out, you've gone too far.
As long as you don't yell.
Please don't break any walls there.
No, I'm good.
No, that wasn't you who did that. You said, well, let me go back. You just mentioned meaning, and my head just went straight to, one, what does basketball mean to you? 2, what do you think the meaning of your life is? And 3.
Oh, damn.
We're up to 3 already.
So let me write them down.
Maybe
Meaning of basketball, meaning of your life.
And if you do have an answer or don't have an answer for that, what are you searching for?
Sure.
Around those 2.
All right, first one.
Yeah, so, I guess basketball to me, I feel as though I've got a debt to basketball. I started playing when I was 6-year-old. So everything that I've really achieved in my life has been through basketball.
Yeah.
Even coming out of high school and deciding to get into sports management and doing a human movement science degree, was all just to keep me involved in the game beyond the playing time. My lifelong friends, my wife, my extended family, everything that I've got that's good in my life has come through basketball. So when I look at athletes, or the sporting environment for basketball in general, I feel as though I've got a debt to repay. So that's why I'm I guess tied to it so closely, and so invested no matter what. And it might be coaching under 11s at BBI on a Saturday morning. I still want to do that to the best of my ability, so that the kids enjoy what they're doing. They don't have to be good at it, but I want them to enjoy it and fall in love with it like I did. And I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the only basketballer in my family. Growing up, I grew up in a house of soccer people. My father, my father's a former FIFA referee.
Wow.
So I never got away with back chatting a referee as a kid either. It just did not happen. Yeah. And I dabbled with a bit of soccer, but basketball was just my passion. I gave up school trips because I had a basketball tournament that weekend, things like that. Yeah. So that's what it sort of means to me. And that's probably the answer to both your first 2 questions. And your third one I've forgotten. Did you write it down?
Is there anything you're searching for?
Well, always searching for the ability to, as I said, to give back and what the next challenge is, and I guess with a sports admin background, I know I'm not going to coach and be on the tools for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm looking for not only what my next opportunity is, but also ensuring that the people coming in as the next generation are ready for the challenge as well. So, always looking for new coaches, always looking for new players, and make sure that we've got that succession plan. That's one of my big things, and obviously Brisbane 2032 is a massive opportunity for off-court opportunities. That's probably in the back of my mind. I completed my master's 2 years ago now. So a PhD is something that I'm also seriously considering. Just got to figure out the what and the how to work with that on. So creating those opportunities around the network of sports professionals that I can leverage and improve myself is always a goal.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm just really glad you mentioned that 2032 and your plans around it and how to.
Oh, you'd be crazy if you
cool.
didn't. Anyone sort of involved in sport,
especially outside. You said outside of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. What that looks like, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a consideration.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kirron, anything you're searching for?
At the moment, not really. I think in the moment in my life where I'm at right now is kind of things are coming to an end, and so wrapping up loose ends more than anything. So not really in a searching phase as much as I am in a sitting back enjoying phase, and as I said, wrapping up like things that I've been working on for a long time, and as I said, loose ends, which is equally as challenging and nice in a totally different way. I really enjoy searching, same as Nick, like looking for that next opportunity or just seeing what's provided, or that kind of I'm not sure what's going to happen. Still enjoying what you're doing, but at the same time, looking around to see what's presented.
Yeah.
But that's not really where my focus is at the moment, because I think it's important to enjoy every moment and every phase you're in.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really searching, just enjoying the current reality of my life, and it's pretty good right now.
Flip the question back on yourself.
I usually don't answer the questions. No, I'm just playing.
What's next? What are you looking for? What's next for you?
I'm searching a lot spiritually. Yeah, and
I'm pants that fit. That's what you're looking for.
These are from Lowe's, man. Hey, I asked Lowe's. Let's do something, man. Help us out. I want more of these, and they're great prices, and I think they're cool. I don't care how much you
get a sponsor. Get a sponsor.
Yeah, come on, Lowe's.
Sorry, I interrupted. What are you saying?
Searching spiritually. And not in one sector. I'm just searching here and there. I don't know. I watched. What the bleep do we know again recently, and then just
quantum
heard
physics.
some different things. Yeah, quantum physics. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, go check that out. Just the last time I watched it was in high school, but I'm picking up different things.
Yep.
I picked up different things from it this time. So you can think I'm a wacko.
No, but you're spot on. I mean, and things that talk to you, or things that you have a connection with.
Yeah.
I've found, very much so can change.
Yeah.
And what you thought it meant when you're in high school.
Yeah.
And can change when you get your first job, or you get engaged and get married, whatever the case may be. The big pinnacle moments in life. You can think, oh, actually, that actually means something different to me now.
Yeah.
And that'll just keep on rolling, Yeah. But that strive, and I guess that's the thing that I look for, is that that growth. What does that mean? How is that going to affect me now? What direction is that taking me in?
Yeah.
And being comfortable in that.
And it's a nice space to be in, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a great space to be in.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like Kirron said, you know, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Unfortunately, we hate hearing it, but like you say, you got to enjoy every moment of whatever you're in, and just continue to search, you know, and
go to the next one. Make the next one the best one.
I like that.
Yep,
I like
That's
that.
the plan.
And yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I truly appreciate you even replying to a message. I don't know what thank you. That's
Always reply. You can, and that's the thing. Like I think I said before, you know, never be afraid to say yes to an opportunity that presents.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I would probably rather regret something that I did than something I wished I had done. So saying yes is you know, one of those things that you just go, yep, well, we'll see how this pans out and learn from it and go from there. I mean, just so you know, this is the first podcast I've ever done.
wow.
So you know, so that's
We're
the
lucky
thing.
and privileged.
Saying yes to it.
Privilege. That's what, yeah.
And you know what, we'll look forward to following you on the journey, and you know, like all the coaching and all the admin stuff you're doing, and particularly involved with the level that you're involved at, you know, and that'll be really cool to hopefully get you back on and sort of reflect on some of those things and just see how that progresses as, you know, as it goes on. That'd be really cool just to
absolutely.
get that kind of continuity around it, because following that journey, I think documenting it a little bit would
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
yeah, we'd find that really cool
Yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
keen to do that.
More than keen to do that.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. And should you subscribe to the Surges podcast? Yes, you should. I think you absolutely should. Thanks for tuning in, and again, have a good one. Keep searching. God bless.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.